Hello, how are you doing, babe? I hope you are having an amazing day. If you are new to my channel, I'm Vera, but you can call me V, and I share amazing stories. And so if this is something you love, please subscribe and like this video. And don't forget to turn on the notifications so that when I post, you'll be notified immediately. Today's shout out goes to Anita Apo 8776, Adodakwa 780, and Miranda and Rebecca Elom 8440. They were the first people to comment on my last video. Thank you so much for the support, babes. I love you. And now relax, get comfortable, and let's get right into it. When we first moved to the city, we had nothing. My mom said things will get better soon. We went to stay with an old friend from childhood, Auntie Gina. I had never met her before, but mom said she was a good person, and she was. Auntie Gina welcomed us with open arms like we were family. She lived in a big 4-bedroom house and a small boys' quarters at the back. That is where we stayed. It was small, with only one fan and a mattress on the floor, but it was better than sleeping outside. Auntie Gina was married, but her husband worked in another state. He only came home on weekends. They had one daughter, Edna. She was 14. I had just turned 15. From the first day, Edna was kind. She showed me around the house, offered me a snacks, and even let me pick channels on the TV. She had her own room, full of books, clothes, and teddy bears. She went to a good private school and always came home with stories about her teachers and friends. Her school uniform was ironed and perfect. Her shoes shined. She had everything. I smiled when she talked, but inside I felt small. I didn't go to school. I just stayed home. Mom said it was because we were still settling. Auntie Gina offered to pay for my fees so I could join Edna's school, but Mom refused. She said we won't be here long. No need to start something we can't finish. I nodded like I understood, but I didn't. Each morning, I watched Edna dress up and leave for school while I sat outside. She would wave at me happily, and I would wave back. But deep down, I hated how perfect her life seemed. She was beautiful, light-skinned, with soft curls and straight teeth. People liked her. Even strangers on the street would smile at her. Me, I looked like a forgotten child. My clothes were always faded, my skin always dry, and my father, I had never even met him. He left my mom when she got pregnant with me and never looked back. No calls, no visits, nothing. But Edna's father was different. When he came home on Fridays, he would hug her tightly like she was a treasure. He brought gifts, helped her with her own work, and kissed her forehead before bed. Once I peeked from the hallway and watched him tuck her in, whispering, "Good night, my princess." That night, I cried quietly on my mattress. They were nice to us. Auntie Gina always made sure we ate. She sometimes slaved my mom's small money to buy parts or foodstuff. Edna called me a best friend and always shared things with me. But no matter how kind they were, I couldn't stop the feeling growing in my chest. I wanted what she had: a room, a life, a father, a peace. I knew it was wrong, but I couldn't help it. And that is how everything started. The lies, the silence, the secrets. Not with hate, but with jealousy. A jealousy I kept smiling through. Every morning, Edna woke up early, dressed in a neat school uniform, and had a warm breakfast. I would sit on the kitchen stool, peeling tomatoes or washing dishes as she chatted happily about her upcoming quiz or school projects. I always smiled and nodded like I was listening, but my chest would get tight. I should have been in school too. I was just 1 year older than her. I pretended it didn't bother me. I even told Edna I didn't like school and that she was lucky to enjoy it. She laughed and called me lucky too. You get to stay home and relax while I suffer in class. But what she didn't know was that I would have given anything to wear that uniform, carry that backpack, and walk through the school gates like I mattered. Instead, I stayed home. Some days I helped Auntie Gina in the kitchen. Other days I cleaned or followed my mom to the market when she went looking for small jobs. Edna will return from school with new stories. She always had something to say about her teachers, about a boy who liked her, about how she got the highest score in maths again. She was always happy and full of life. And me, I clapped for her. I cheered. I told her I was proud of her. But deep inside, something was burning. She had textbooks, pretty pens, school shoes, and a father who asked about her studies every week. He would call from the other state just to ask if she did well in school. He always said, "My daughter must be great." No one ever said that to me. I hated myself for feeling this way. Edna was good to me. She called me a sister. She shared her snacks. She let me borrow her clothes sometimes. But no matter how kind she was, I still wanted her life. Every night, I lay on our thin mattress in the boys' quarters and stared at the ceiling, thinking if I had a life, I would be happy too. If I had a father, I wouldn't be so angry all the time. It wasn't fair. And somehow, I started blaming her for it, for being everything I wished I was. But I still smiled. I still laughed with her. I still played the good friend because I knew my mom and I had nowhere else to go. And I couldn't afford to lose the only home we had. Time moved fast. Before we knew it, a whole year had passed since we first arrived in the city. Life had settled into a strange kind of rhythm. Edna went to school. I stayed home. Auntie Gina treated us like family. Her husband, Edna's dad, still came home on weekends, always smiling, always respectful. We had no reason to complain. But then, everything changed. Auntie Gina fell sick. At first, it was just small things, tiredness, headaches, dizziness. Then it got worse. She stopped cooking. She stopped coming out of her room. Her skin grew pale. She could barely walk without someone helping her. Soon, she couldn't do anything for herself. My mom stepped in. She helped with bathing, feeding, everything. I helped too, but mostly I watched. I had never seen anyone fall sick like that before. Gina's husband came back to stay longer than usual. He looked worried. They went to hospitals, tried different medicines, even called pastors, but nothing helped. One night, Auntie Gina was rushed to the hospital. I waited in the living room with Edna, who sat in silence, hugging her knees and staring at the door. The next morning, we got a call. Auntie Gina was gone. She had passed in the early hours, just like that. The house felt cold and empty. Edna didn't speak for days. Her father walked around like a ghost. My mom cried, and I just kept quiet. I didn't know what to say or how to feel. It wasn't my mother, but it still hurts. We had moved into the main house when Gina got really bad. And after her death, we just stayed. No one said anything. Her husband didn't ask us to go. He didn't even look at us most of the time. He just sat in silence or locked himself in his room. At first, I thought he was just mooning, but then I started noticing things. Late at night, I would see him and my mom sitting in the kitchen, whispering. Sometimes he would leave her room quietly when he thought no one was watching. I saw the way she smiled at him, the way he looked at her, almost like he didn't see anyone else. It made my stomach twist. I told myself I was imagining things, that they were just close because of everything that happened. But the more I saw, the more I felt it in my bones. Something was happening, something they weren't saying out loud. Edna didn't notice. She was lost in her own pain. She barely ate. She barely talked. I should have told her. I should have warned her. But instead, I said nothing. I watched everything from the shadows. Because deep down, a small part of me was happy, not about Gina's death, but about what it meant. It meant we wouldn't have to leave. It meant we were now needed in that house. And maybe, just maybe, it meant I was finally a little closer to the life I always wanted. Hmm. One of the popular boys in our neighborhood, Toby, a guy I had a crush on, asked me to come to a party happening in town. It wasn't just any party, it was a real one. Loud music, drinks, lights, older boys and girls. The kind I had only heard about, but never been to. I said yes without thinking, But then I remembered I wasn't really free. I knew my mom would never let me go. And Edna's dad, now more serious than ever, had started watching us closely. So I came up with a plan. Edna, let's go together, I said casually. She shook her head. I don't feel like it. You've been sad for weeks. I pushed. This could cheer you up. A little music, some fresh air. Please. She looked unsure, but I begged. I told her she needed it, that she couldn't stay in a room forever. In truth, I didn't care about cheering her up. I just knew if she came, we would both be allowed to go. Edna's dad trusted her. He wouldn't suspect anything if we went together. Finally, she agreed. We told our parents it was a simple neighborhood hangout, and they said we could go, but just for a few hours. I was so excited. When we arrived at the party, it was louder and wilder than I expected. It felt like a whole different world. Edna held my hand tightly. Let's stay together, she said. I just want to say hi to someone. I will be back, I replied. She looked unsure, but nodded. I left her near the drinks table and walked off to find Toby. I felt alive, like I was finally someone. He smiled at me, and we started talking. I laughed too loud, danced too much. I forgot Edna. Minutes turned into an hour. When I remembered her, I rushed back, but she wasn't there. I checked the front, then the back, then the bathrooms, no sign. At first, I thought she had joined some people or gone outside to get air. But then another hour passed. Panic started to creep in. I asked a few people if they had seen a slim girl with a pink hairband. No one had. Finally, I went to the back of the building, and that is when I saw her. She was sitting on the ground, leaning against a wall, hugging her knees. Her face was pale, she was bleeding, her eyes were empty, her lips were trembling. Edna, I rushed to her. What happened? She didn't speak. She didn't even look at me. She just shook slightly, like someone trapped inside their own body. My hands started to shake. Something had clearly gone wrong, but I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to help. All I knew was this night had changed something, and I was the reason why. After the party, everything about Edna changed. She didn't say a word on the ride home. She just stared out of the window, holding her arms tightly around herself like she was cold, even though the car was warm. When we got back, she went straight to her room, locked the door, and didn't come out till the next morning. I couldn't sleep that night. I kept hearing her silence over and over again. I wanted to knock on her door, but I didn't. I was scared of what she might say, scared of what I might hear. The next day, she refused to eat. She wouldn't look anyone in the eye. She moved like a shadow, quiet, empty, slow. Everyone noticed, and I kept quiet. I knew she wasn't fine. I knew something serious had happened that night, something that shook her to the core. But instead of helping her, I avoided her. I buried the fear deep down. One night, she sat on her bed and finally asked me, "Why did you leave me?" I froze. I didn't mean to. I thought you would be okay, I stammered. Her eyes filled with tears. They didn't even ask my name. They pounced on me. I panicked. I didn't ask her to explain. I didn't hug her. I just interrupted. Don't talk about it, I said quickly. It is better that way. What? Just forget everything. Pretend it never happened. She looked at me like I was speaking another language. Forget it. Yes, I insisted. You don't want people to know. They will judge you. They won't understand. It will bring shame. You will regret it. She just stared at me, stunned, like I had hit her without touching her. In my head, I told myself I was protecting her, that I was helping her heal, that silence was better. But deep down, I knew the truth. I wasn't protecting her. I was protecting myself. If she told her father, we could be blamed. My mom could be thrown out. We could lose everything. So I kept her quiet. I begged her to bury the pain, to hide it in a place no one could find. I said all the right words, but none of them were for her. They were for me. Edna stopped talking to me after that. She still moved through the house like a ghost. She still didn't eat. She lost weight. Her eyes became hollow. Her once bright spirit had dimmed. But I kept pretending everything was okay. because facing the truth means everything will fall apart. And I wasn't ready for that. Weeks passed. Edna grew weaker and thinner. She barely spoke. Her uniform started hanging off her, like it didn't belong to her anymore. Her eyes were always red, but she never cried in front of anyone again. Sometimes I would catch her staring at the wall for hours. Sometimes I would see her flinch when anyone touched her. She avoided mirrors, food, and most of all, me. I could feel the wall between us grow higher every day. One morning, she didn't get out of bed. Her dad called her name, knocked, even shouted, but no answer. My mom finally unlocked the door, and there she was, curled up under a blanket, pale and shaking. They rushed her to the hospital. I stood in the hallway, pacing. I could feel my heart in my throat. I knew something big was coming, but I kept hoping it would pass. Then her father came out of the doctor's office, looking like he had been hit by lightning. His hands were shaking, his eyes wide with disbelief. "She's pregnant," he said aloud, almost to himself. I felt the floor shift under me. "She's 16, he shouted. "How? With who? How could she do this?" He turned to Edna. "Is this why you've been acting strange? Who did this to you?" She burst into tears. She tried to speak, but the words wouldn't come out. Then she finally whispered, "I didn't want this. It wasn't my fault." "What do you mean it wasn't your fault?" He snapped. She looked at me, her eyes begging, pleading. "Tell him," she said. "When we went to the party, they forced me. Please tell him." I looked around. My mom had appeared by my side. She didn't say anything, but the look in her eyes was a warning, sharp and cold, warning me to lie. My heart raced. My hands were sweating. Edna was waiting. Her father was waiting. I knew I had to make a choice. I opened my mouth. "She is lying," I said. The room fell silent. "What?" her father asked. "She was sneaking out, meeting boys." I tried to stop her, but I let the sentence hang. Edna gasped. Her face scrambled. "Why are you lying?" she whispered. "You know what happened. You were there." But I kept going. "She's just trying to cover up a mistake," I said. "No one hurt her. She went to them on her own choice. Maybe she just didn't think it would go this far." Her father stared at her, his face red with anger. "You have disgraced this family," he shouted. "You are just like those girls on the streets." And then he slapped her. Ow. It was the first time he had ever hit her. Edna fell to the ground, sobbing. Her father pointed to the door. "Go to your room. I don't want to see you again today. You've broken my heart. Your mother would be ashamed in her grave." I just stood there, frozen. Her eyes met mine again as she crawled to her feet, full of pain and betrayal. She didn't say a word this time. She didn't beg me. She didn't ask why. She just left the room. And right there, I knew I had done something I could never undo. That night, Edna came to my room. I was sitting on the edge of the bed, trying to calm my racing heart, when I heard the soft knock. I opened the door, and there she was. Her eyes were swollen from crying. Her body looked smaller than before, like the weight of everything was pressing her down. She stepped in, unshaking. "Please," she whispered, "tell him the truth." I said nothing. She knelt in front of me. "You know I didn't do anything wrong. You were there. You know what happened. You saw what I looked like that night." Tears ran down her cheeks like a river. She held my hands. Her palms were cold. Her fingers trembled. "I'm begging you, please. You are the only one who knows." I stayed silent. I pulled my hands away gently and looked down. "I can't. It is too late." She gasped, like I had slapped her with my weight. "Too late?" she repeated. "So you are really going to leave me like this?" I couldn't look her in the eye. She stood up slowly. Something changed in her face, like something inside her broke. "I should have never trusted you," she said quietly. "You came into my house, into my life, and destroyed it." Then she walked out of the room. From that moment on, Edna disappeared, even though she was still in the house. She stopped talking, stopped going to school, stopped smiling. She stayed locked in her room for most of the day. Her father told the school she was taking time off because of her condition, but even he didn't visit her room much anymore. He couldn't look at her without anger, and I pretended everything was okay. I helped around the house, ran errands with my mom, and smiled when people asked if we were doing all right. But every time I passed Edna's door and heard silence, my heart sank deeper into guilt. She was no longer Edna, the bubbly, smart, cheerful girl who once called me a best friend. She had become a ghost, and I was the one who made her disappear. 2 months after everything fell apart, just when things had gone quiet in the house, her dad made an announcement. He was marrying my mom. He said it so casually during dinner one Sunday evening, like it was just another piece of news. I've decided to marry Comfort, he said, looking straight ahead. I froze. Edna didn't even look up from her plate, but I saw her body stiffen. Her hands stopped moving. Then slowly, she turned to him. What? She whispered. He repeated it. We are getting married next month. We have been through a lot. We want to move forward. Edna stood up slowly, like she couldn't believe what she was hearing. Her voice cracked. You are marrying her. My mom stayed quiet at first, but I saw her lips tighten. Edna's voice rose. Did you love my mom at all? How could you? How could both of you? You don't understand, my mom started, but Edna cut her off. No, I do understand. You have been doing this behind our backs. Was this going on even when my mom was sick? Was she dying while you two were sneaking around? Her father didn't say a word. He just sat there, like it wasn't part of the moment at all. Then Edna turned to my mom. You were a friend. She trusted you. And you spit on her grave. You killed her so you can have my dad. That is when it happened. Slap. My mom slapped her so hard, I saw Edna's head swing. Mind how you talk to me. My mom shouted, you have lost all respect. But Edna didn't cry. She just stared at both of them, quiet, burning, broken. Then she walked away. No screams, no words. Just that dead silence she had mastered so well. She didn't come out of her room at all the next day. The house felt like it was holding its breath. Then her grandmother came, a tall, proud old woman who looked just like her mother, Gina. Her eyes were sharp, full of questions. She asked to take Edna home with her, said the girl needed peace and space, said this house wasn't right, but her father refused. She's staying here. This is her home. I watched from the corner as Edna stood behind her grandmother, eyes low, face blank. Even when her grandma pleaded, even when she cried, he said no. Edna didn't say a word, not to him, not to me. She just followed her grandmother to the gate as she was leaving. She looked at me with tears in her eyes as her grandmother walked away. And in that second, I felt it deep in my bones. Something terrible was coming. The wedding day came fast. My mom was glowing in her white and gold dress. She looked like she had finally made it. The house was filled with music, laughter, family, and well wishes. Decorations hung from the ceilings. Neighbors came with food. People danced in the compound. It was supposed to be a happy day. But something was missing. Edna never came out of her room. We knocked, called her name. My mom said she's just trying to spoil our day. Leave her. Her dad looked worried for a moment, but then said, let's not give her power today. She will come around. I looked at her bedroom door one last time before we left for the court to sign the papers. Something about the silence behind that door gave me chills, but I pushed it aside. We are married now, my mom laughed, throwing her arms around me as the certificate was signed. Things will be better from now. When we got back to the house, there was music, drinks, and celebration. Guests danced, people clapped, and the house was full of life. Until we heard the scream, a loud, sharp cry from upstairs. Everyone froze. Then more screams, someone shouting Edna's name. The music stopped, plates dropped, feet rushed up the stairs. I followed behind, my chest pounding. She was lying on the floor of the upstairs hallway, right outside her room. Blood everywhere, so much blood. Her body was twisted. Her hair spread like a fan on the tiles. Her face calm, too calm. She had jumped right from the top floor. My mom screamed and fell to the ground. Her dad pushed through the crowd and dropped beside her body. No, Edna, wake up, but she was already gone. Someone found a letter on her bed. It was written in shaky handwriting, but the words were clear. You didn't believe me. You called me a liar. But I told the truth from the beginning. They forced themselves on me. You knew me. You should have believed me, but you didn't. I told the truth from the beginning. To my father, you chose a woman over your own daughter. To comfort her daughter, you destroyed my family, stole my life, and buried my voice. I cursed the day you entered our home. May you never know peace for the pain you brought into mine. Goodbye. Her father read the letter and broke. He started screaming, holding his head, shouting, What have I done? My daughter, my child. He wept like a baby, right there beside her body. And that is when I saw it in his eyes. He finally believed her, but it was too late. The morning after Edna died, the house was silent. No music, no footsteps, just heavy air, thick with guilt and grief. Then something happened. Her father couldn't get out of bed. He tried to speak, but the words came out broken. His face twisted to one side. His arm wouldn't move. He had suffered a stroke. The man who once ruled the house with strength now needed help to lift a spoon. My mom and I stayed back to care for him. We fed him, changed him, sat beside him, but he never looked at me again. Even when I spoke, he kept his eyes on the wall, as if seeing me would break him all over again. A few weeks later, he passed away. Oh, some said it was the stroke. Others said it was the grief that killed him. I think it was both. That is when the family came. His sisters, his cousins, his mother who had come back from abroad. They came with papers, threats, and lawyers. They wanted the house, said we didn't belong there, that we had cursed the family, and brought nothing but death. But legally, my mom was his wife, and there was no will, so the house stayed with us. For a while, it felt like we had won. We lived in the main house now, slept in the big rooms, ate at the table where we once sat as visitors. My mom even smiled again. She said God had finally remembered us. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong, that we were living in a space we didn't earn, that the blood on the floor upstairs would never really wash away. Then the cracks began. My mom fell sick 2 years later. At first, it was small headaches, weakness, little sores that wouldn't heal. Then it got worse. Her hair fell out. Her teeth became loose. She lost so much weight, she looked like a shadow of herself. Cancer, the doctor said, and the treatment was expensive. We didn't have the money. That is when she met a man who promised to help. He told her he loved her, moved into the house, told her to put the house up as collateral for a loan, just to help her get better. He promised they would pay it back himself. She believed him. Then he stole all the money and he ran away. We lost the house. Everything was gone. We went back to our hometown, the very place we had tried so hard to leave. And there, the family we ran from welcomed us with silence and side eyes. My mom suffered till the end. She died in pain, hairless, toothless, and I was right beside her, helpless. And now I am 30 years old. No husband, no job, no home of my own. Every time I get a little money, I fall sick. Every time I get a job, I lose it. Friends betray me. Men use me. Life keeps slapping me in the face over and over. Sometimes I wonder if Edna's curse was real. Sometimes I wonder if I cursed myself. I know I messed up. I know I betrayed a girl who did nothing but love me. I let my fear and selfishness destroy her life. But I am still here, trying. I keep praying every day for forgiveness. I feel cursed. I met a man who told me to undo my past bad deeds. I need to do more good deeds. The good will erase the bad. So I am really trying, feeding angry kids, giving what little I have to people in need, praying for forgiveness, hoping God still listens. Maybe it is just bad luck, Or maybe it is the price of my past. Either way, I am still walking through this hell. Hoping one day I will find the door out and finally get my breakthrough. I my god, this story. I don't know what to say. Let me hear your thoughts down below because I leave your thoughts down below. And I bet you know that this is a judgment-free zone. We listen, we don't judge. So please be kind to her in the comment section. This story. What can I even say? What should I say? I don't know what to say. I don't. For the first time, I'm thinking, but nothing is coming out. Anyway, if you've not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for, babe? Come and join the family. Subscribe and like this video. And don't forget to turn on the notifications so that when I post, you'll be notified immediately. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Okay, I'm done. Bye.